So, Bitten by Productions is a Melbourne-based theatre company, and essentially been around for a few years now, and our focus is on producing new Australian work that is predominantly story and character driven. It's been one of my favourite books since I was in high school. I've always loved the character, I've loved the concepts, and I guess I just thought it'd be really interesting to kind of look at what he would be like in the present day. But then instead of, maybe taking the obvious choice, which was like a modernisation of the story, or a Picture of Dorian Gray version set in 2019, I thought, what if due to circumstances the play does get into, he didn't die at the end of the novel where he seems to die, and what would that look like if he's had to endure all of this time? How would his perspective have changed? How much would he have stayed the same? How much would he have actually gained wisdom? How much would he have sort of remained frozen in the past? And that question was just so fascinating that from there I kind of dove into putting this play together.
Give me a little smile, just like a really little one. Yeah. Good.
He's one of those characters that lives amongst us, even when he's, when he's in the ether. It's part of that, a bit like Dracula and Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He just forms that kind of chorus of Gothic villains that inform us, even if we haven't read them.
So you think your morality will survive over a century intact, do you?
By all accounts, morality was never something that ever troubled you that much.
By what accounts? Old diaries and gossip columns? What about the account of the person who actually lived it?
This particular version of the story, Gabe's kind of take on it, is really confronting, because it asks you to take all that existed in the original Oscar Wilde story, but let it grow, let it morph, let it change into something new. Bring it into a modern context where we're all kind of talking around the ideas of climate change and existentialism and what's going to happen and who are we and where do we fit into it. But this actual sort of take on it asks me, playing Dorian, to kind of try and bring all that old English idea of everything, but allow it to kind of blossom rather than try and remake what that was back then.
The same kind of openness was extended in the rehearsal room by Peter, because he has, again, a very intelligent way of looking at material, and also a very human way of looking at material, because Peter has a way of just getting to work with the actor's muscle, allowing the actor to be themselves authentically, but at the same time also carry the show.
You assume a lot, don't you? I didn't tell you what I wanted to do.
You hardly had to. I didn't make my name by taking anything at face value.
And what name is that? Jack Smith?
Excuse me?
It was very positive, not only for ourselves, but also for the audience. Because a lot of people would stay back and want to talk about the show, and they wanted to talk about what they experienced, what worked and what didn't work. So I think I had the perfect team, because all of us were very open to receiving any kind of feedback or any kind of opinions that people had on their experience on going on the journey with us. So it was a massive learning curve, and we're still learning as well.
But whenever we've done plays about recognizable concepts or names or characters, they sell really well, and I don't know why that is, but particularly, I think about it in these terms. We've done the Beatles, we've done Bruce Springsteen, we've done Dracula, and if I see as a fan of any of those things that there's a play on that sort of maybe has a new spin on the concept or looks at the idea from a different angle, which is what we promised to do with the Trial of Dorian Gray, then I'm going to go and see it. And so I think it just sort of stood to reason that it was kind of a no-brainer for the festival, because we thought, look, we'll get the exposure from the festival and that will bring people in, and obviously it's a queer icon, and so for that reason alone, I think it would be a really good fit for other festivals or kind of other platforms like that down the line, depending on what came up.
No, this isn't fair, because now I'll know I'm being tested.
You won't remember this.
How can I?
I wanted so much to be proven wrong about you.
Wait, please, just give me another chance, please.
You had a century of chances.
This isn't fair!
Yes, it is.
Oscar Wilde creates such a full world, such a crazy world, and that's why people latch onto it so much. And I think it's so great to get to re-explore that world, but in a modern context with Gabe's writing and with actually sort of bringing something new to it, rather than getting bogged down in rehashing that old story or trying to bring something new to such a great story. You actually kind of got a bit more room to move and stuff like that with this one, which is great.
Best. My studio, my terms.
I think if it played in Melbourne again, there'd be a lot of people who were really annoyed that they didn't get to see it the first time around, would be really excited that they could, because we were turning people away. I've not had to do that before, but we had to turn a lot of people away.
Very good problem to have.
It's a very good problem to have.
I want more people to see this. I want more people to ask those deep questions, you know, because we are in a society now where everything is so social media orientated and so plastic. But this show forces people to dig deep and ask the important questions. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's from every age possible. You have to think about, you know, death. You have to think about what would it be like if you live forever.
Can you predict the future?
It wasn't about knowing the future, it was about knowing the present, the time that you were in.
Oh, you are so very patronizing, my little avenging angel. I know exactly what time I was in. Unlike you, I actually lived it.
For me personally, I do the work that I do because I want to encourage the generation below me to be able to look on stage and see someone that looks like them, and they're not putting on an African accent, or they're not wearing tribal gear, but they're just there in themselves and their natural accent, engaged in a show that's talking about intellectual topics and subjects. Just two people on stage. Two people on stage who are engaged in romance, engaged in life's issues, engaged in healthy debates.
I don't want revenge. Granddad already got his revenge, right before he threw himself off that bridge. I want an explanation.
I'm here to confirm your suspicion.
We're well beyond suspicions.
This is an hour and 10 minutes of stuff. I won't say everything that happens, but it's a continuous moment. You as the audience with the characters and the space for the duration of the play, and I think that's becoming unique to theatre. It's certainly something that film doesn't do, unless you're Russian Ark. It's something that doesn't happen very often.
And it's two people grappling with, you know, such like very, very big, very, very challenging ideas that, you know, the things that, you know, kind of keep us awake, or, you know, I think eat at us no matter how much we kind of try to push it away. And essentially, it makes me feel a bit cruel, but like, you know, we're if we've done our jobs, you know, we're forcing the audience into the room with these two, into this conversation, and forcing them to be like, do I agree? Do I disagree? What do I think of that? The ideas are being thrown out there. The actors are conveying them so beautifully and throwing them at each other like this constant sort of visceral chess game. And you as the audience have to be in there and have to contend with what's going on in front of you. And that, at the end, you're left with, where do you stand on this? And I think that's really powerful. And I think that's what people have really responded to with this show.
Plus, it's really sexy.
Which, you know, sells. So.
They had no idea how to treat you.
I stepped out of a mist.
I'm not dreaming of a modeling career.